Welcome back, Megabytes teachers. In this short video, we are going to actually get logged into our TGA account and look at the different options we have when we're logged in as opposed to just using anything that's publicly available. So the very first thing I need you to do is use your web browser and navigate to tga.maps.arcgis.com. Once you get to the Tennessee Geographic Alliance ArcGIS Online page, look here in the top right-hand corner for the Sign In button. From there, you're going to enter in your Megabytes username as well as your password. If for some reason you've forgotten your password, you can use the Forgot Password link and it'll reset that password and send a notification to the email you have on file. Once you get logged in, here in the top right-hand corner, you'll probably see something about your Megabytes username here in the top right-hand side. But let's go ahead and make a new empty map. So once the page loads, and it may load just to the home page for you, click here on the Map option. For now, let's not worry about the Map Viewer Beta. I don't know when that's going to go live, and it'll just add confusion, so we'll skip that for now. So you should get a plain empty map without any data layers in it, and you've seen this layout now numerous times, so you're familiar with most of the tools. But let's go ahead and get started by just adding some new data. So as a refresher on that, we're going to go up here to the Add option, and we're going to search for layers. Let's start by searching for our Megabytes keyword again. And before we do that, let me change this to ArcGIS Online, because we can search within sort of different buckets of data. So when you're logged in, you could actually search for just your own data. And then because you're part of the Megabytes group, you could search there, but what you really need is this ArcGIS Online one. And if you search for Megabytes, hit enter. Okay, so we've got all these different layers. You'll notice that some of these layers are ones that you all have created when you were working on the different Megabytes GIS workshops last February. If you see TGA_admin01, that's me. That's the data that I've created. So for now, let's just add this time-enabled data. But before we do that, let's click and see what it says about the time-enabled data. All right, so we've got a description. It tells us what each of the column names means. We still have to deal with that -9999. And if we want to add that to the map, we can either click Add to Map here, or we can click this plus. All right, let's go ahead and close that and hit that back arrow for now. You'll notice we've got something new, which is we actually have this time slider timeline here on the bottom. Because this data is a special type of data set that I've enabled time on, it'll actually show you how this data changes over time. So we'll hit play, and you'll see that as different schools come online with their program, you'll see different dots show up. At this point, most of the schools are already active, and we should see a few fall off here at the end. Yeah, so that's a good way to show data that changes over time. All right, but let's say we wanted some other data to go with this. So not just data that we've created. Let's say we wanted something else. Let's go back here and search for layers. One of the things that we talked about with these particular mosquitoes that carry La Crosse encephalitis, or La Crosse virus, is that they are container mosquitoes. So they like to live in things that are containers for water. So, you know, like a nursery with lots of pots sitting around, a tire store with a lot of tires sitting around, even, you know, maybe trash around, you know, a stadium of some kind after a game where like some lid or something is there and can collect water. So let's just do a quick search, and I'm doing this live and I've not looked for any of this stuff before. So let's see if we can just search for the word nursery. Okay, so we might imagine that there are some nurseries where those little plastic pots sit out, So if we want to learn more about this, we can click here and see who's made this. Oh, someone from the, looks like from the Audubon. And we can hit add to map. And this is native plant nursery. So we can see even right here that we've got a native plant nursery. Let's see what else. And let's see, we said tires maybe. So I don't know, let's see what happens if we search for tire. Oh, that's not what we wanted because that's the wrong side of the country. Okay, so what other data can we search for? Well, one of the things we've learned is that a lot of these mosquitoes like to live around cemeteries. So we can hit this add button again, search for layers. We're still here in search for ArcGIS Online, and we'll search for cemeteries, Tennessee. And we notice here that we have a layer for the cemeteries. Again, we can hit that layer name, click on it, and it'll show as a description. And then we can use add to map, and it'll add all those cemeteries in the state of Tennessee. And that is a lot of cemeteries. Okay, so there's an easy way to add some data. Let's see, what else do we want to cover today? So next, let's go here to the base map, and let's just explore some of these base maps. But before I do that, to make it a little easier to see, I'm going to go here to content, and for now I'm going to turn off the cemeteries, and we'll zoom in here to East Tennessee. So as a quick reminder, with your base maps, you can change these to suit anything you want. Sometimes when we get into the visualization, you may decide that you'd like to have a much simpler background, so you might end up choosing one of these. It's the dark gray canvas or light gray canvas. But you can just as easily pick anything else that's in here. The topographic maps like the USGS used to publish. Here's one from National Geographic. And of course, as you zoom in and out, the detail in the maps is going to change as well. So let's say we wanted this particular base map. And let's say that we wanted to have a couple of different bookmarks because maybe we want to talk about specifically how the data changes from one part of East Tennessee to the next. So let's say that I wanted to add a bookmark for Horace Maynard Middle School here. So what I might actually do is just go up here to the address search bar and search for Horace Maynard Middle School. Notice this says data is not available here at this scale, so apparently we zoomed in a little too tight for the Nat Geo data. All right, so our school's located over here, and we can actually see where the overtraps are located. And let's say I want to make it easy to get back to this location. So I can go up here to bookmarks, and then I can add a bookmark for the zoom level and the extent that I'm at now. And I might just abbreviate that Horace Maynard Middle School. And then let's say that there was something really interesting going on at Saudi Daisy at the high school. And I wanted to make it easy to find that as well. So I could do the same thing. I could create another bookmark for here and abbreviate that SDHS for Saudi Daisy High School. All right, so now we've got data layers. We've got bookmarks saved. We've changed the base map. Let's look at a couple other little things we can do that might make your life a little bit easier. So let's see what we can do here, because when we look at our data table for the megabytes data, we still have this column in here for calendar week. We know there's 52 weeks in the year, and we all started at about 30 something. So we know about when those all started. So one of the things we could do is we could take our data, we could duplicate that data, and then we could, instead of doing an animation to show change over time, we could actually make a copy of the data. So to make a copy of the data, we're going to click on the three dots. We'll choose copy. And then that duplicates the data, and you'll know that it's been duplicated because it says copy here. Well, maybe we want this data set to show week 35, and we want this one to show week 36. So I'm going to click back on these three dots, and then I'm going to rename that layer. And I can leave most of that the same, but I might change that to week 35 data. And then I might, same thing, click on the three dots, choose rename, and we'll change that to week 36 data. All right, so we've got that set up. And let's do this next. So let's do a quick reminder on how to do the filtering. So again, I'm going to click here on the little filter icon underneath the week 35 data, and I'm going to choose calendar week is, and if I click unique, that gives me a set of drop downs here, and I'll just choose is 35, click apply. So now we only have week 35 data, and I'm going to do the same thing for the next layer, except we're going to filter out for just week 36. So click the filter icon, find where calendar week is, and normally these data layers, or the columns in the data, are listed alphabetically, but what I realized is if a column is capitalized versus if a column name is lowercase, so notice the C in calendar does not show up with the C's that are capitalized. And let's change this then, and we'll use unique again, and we'll go down here at 36 and we'll click apply. Okay, so we've added data by searching for it in ArcGIS Online. We've changed the base map. We've created some bookmarks. We've copy and pasted layers, and then we did some filtering to show different bits of data at the same time. We've obviously been exploring the data tables here. So let's talk a little bit about saving and sharing, because let's pretend that you've gotten this map set up just the way you wanted it, and now you want to be able to share it with your students so they can explore this map. So to do that, you're probably going to want to take the URL for the map, and you're going to want to put that in something like a Canvas website or Google Classroom, whatever your classroom management system is. So before we can do any of that, the very first thing we have to do is we have to save our work. So we're going to go up here to the save icon and choose save. And this works just like it does on a computer. The first time you save something, you need to give it a name, tell it where you want to save it. The only thing that's different is that in ArcGIS Online, you also have to give it these tags, which are like keywords. Think of it as words you would Google search for if you were trying to find this data. So we'll just call this megabytes test map. And you know what? I'm not going to put megabytes in there because I don't actually want you all to be able to find this one because it's not a very good map. All right, and then we might say this is all right, and then I might actually just save this in my megabytes folder. If you don't have folders set up, that's fine. You don't have to worry about that at all. And then I'm just going to hit save. All right, so now that I have saved that, now if I want to share that map with my students, so put this in, say, Google Classroom, I'm going to go up here to this share button with the link icon. And when I do that, I have to specify how I want to share this. Well, you all are all going to use your Tennessee Geographic Alliance account to do this. So the easiest thing for you to do is just click on this icon that says everyone. And when you click on everyone, it'll share it with everyone in our organization, but it'll also make it where all of your students can have access to this, but none of them will have to log in. None of them will have to have a username. None of them will have to have a password. It'll just be you. You're the only one that has to have it to create the content and to be able to share it. So then once you've done that, you copy that link and you hit done. And let's open another private window just to prove that you don't have to be logged in to see this. So notice here in the top right corner, I'm not signed in, so none of your students would have to sign in, but here we are with the data, the layers exactly set up like we just had it. So if you want to share it, make sure you save it first, make sure you click share, make sure you share it with everyone, then you copy this URL, paste that in your content management system for your classroom, and then you're set. Let's say that you've got a really good map that you started with and you want to make a few changes and save it as a new map. So anytime you want to save it as a new map, the best option is, instead of just hitting save, it's actually to hit save as, because if you hit save as, then you can keep everything as it is from the old map and then just modify it a little bit. So I might say, instead of megabytes test map, I might hit save as, and because I'm not very creative, we'll just say megabytes test map 2 and hit save map. So now the map is updated. So now I could change this. So maybe instead of week 35 and 36, maybe I want to get rid of that layer, and then maybe I want to get rid of my filter. That way it shows all the week's data. So now I've made those changes. I can save what I've done to test map 2. I can go up here to share. Be sure to click everyone. Copy that URL. Paste it in here. Again, I'm not signed in, so none of your students will have to have a sign in. But we go over here to content, and we'll see where we've got data. We can also see the bookmarks that we've added. So if we want to zoom to Horace Maynard Middle School or down to Saudi Daisy, we can do that. But again, all you got to do, save, share with everyone, copy paste the URL. So that's going to do it for this short video. We'll hit some other ArcGIS Online content later this week where we'll do some visualization. Thanks for following along.